All right, cool. I'm just gonna real quick, just do a little introduction. What's up? This is your O-Town Real Estate Investors. This is a non-traditional way of our meetup. It is raining and it is not definitely not good weather outside. So we want to continue the momentum and we want to do it through Zoom. So it's a pleasure for everyone to come on here and let's share, let's talk about real estate investing, different strategies. What do you think will work in this market or in the market in the future, especially in 2024? And yeah, I have some thoughts and opinions. I could be very incorrect. I could be correct. Other people could be absolutely correct or incorrect, but let's talk about it. So, um, let's do this. Let's go ahead and introduce everyone if you would like. But I want to start off with Victor. Victor was the first gentleman on here, and this is his first time. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Victor?
Sure. Oh, thanks. Well, basically, I'm Victor. I'm just a contractor right now, up and coming on the Space Coast in Melbourne. Just been doing a lot of research these last 3 years, kind of like waiting for the perfect deal to be like my first deal. I don't want to like jump into something too soon just for the sake of doing it. But I've just been like done a lot of contracting work for like investors and stuff like that. And I'm just trying to like build up, gain some knowledge, up and coming young dude.
Um, well, what kind of I mean, we'll continue while the spotlight's on you.
All good.
What so is contracting? Is it residential, commercial?
Residential.
Is it like rehab, remodels?
Like light remodels, but mostly just painting, flooring,
Nice.
bathrooms, things like that. Yeah, not like plumbing or anything like that, but you know,
Mhm.
I got people for that, I guess. But
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Very much so needed. Absolutely. And that's great. And
totally.
yeah, and so say if you had the opportunity to invest, right? In real estate, would you go single family, residential, multifamily, commercial, or would you do a different strategy?
Probably just like single family at the moment, just to like not jump like too deep into the waters unless, I had like a little bit more experience with like multifamily or something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe like, you know, a duplex, triplex, something like that, a 4 unit if I could get a good mortgage or like something like like something distressed, that's a good deal. I might just do it, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
trying to like, trying to start off small, maybe like single family for now, because that's what's like mostly out there, and probably get something distressed for most likely, and hopefully like really beat down so I can fix it. But yeah, that's just my strategy right now. Just like single family, wait for that right deal.
Sure, yeah. And then you're like you're a lot of steps ahead of a lot of other individuals who don't have that contracting background, right? I actually, it's funny, I used to be a contractor, but it was more on the remediation side. So it was water damage, and then we had the GC license to do the rebuild backs, the rebuilds, right? So it was
Right.
all that combined. But man, I mean, it that experience. I'm not anymore. I don't do it anymore. But that experience, man, was well worth it. I'll tell you that. Well worth all the crazy that came with it.
Absolutely. That's a huge leg up. I'm
Yeah.
not the only one here that's like also a contractor, but yeah, it's like a huge leg up,
Yeah.
and it helps. It definitely helps because like I knew I wanted to get in real estate for
Mhm.
sure. So I was like, you know what, I'll just start off with contracting right now, like as like because so I can like understand the house inside out and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
like eventually I'll get it.
For sure. For sure. Well, thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of
Um,
course.
let's see here. So I'm just gonna call out on the screen here who's next, and let me know if you're available to talk. If not, not a problem. It looks like Greg A is next on the screen.
Hello. Give me 1 second. I want you guys to see me. Can you guys hear me?
I could hear you.
Yep. All right, perfect. That's great. Give me 1 second. I can get that started. Perfect. You guys can see me, right?
I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
you.
Nice, nice. Hey guys, my name is Greg. I am a real estate licensed real estate. Sorry, I had to my light just turned off. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I had a better light here, and can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so I had a light that was powered by battery. I feel like it could have been better for me, but it kind of died out. But anyways, I'm a licensed realtor. I work at a wholesale brokerage. So basically, my job is I am basically liaison for real estate investors, anybody that's trying to find any off-market properties. Just basically, you know, to go ahead and flip, rent, hold, turnkey, whatever in that sort of nature. So basically, my main goal here is to be able to just network with people that's investors and be able to build my list. You know, at the end of the day, I just want to build relationships and being able to cater to people that's trying to find those properties. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Love it, man. Love it. So basically, so okay, so you are licensed, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. But I also like how so and then you wholesale as well.
I don't wholesale. I know of wholesaling, but I don't wholesale.
Okay.
So basically, I'm obviously in the near future I want to be able to do wholesaling, but right now I'm in the business of
Mm-hmm.
guiding those investors to those properties so they can be able to put their money into something and be able to grow their money. So that's my specific goal as of right now. But in the future, definitely I will.
Cool.
You know.
I
Mhm.
love it. Love it. Good
Yeah,
stuff, man.
yeah.
Well, again, thank you. And then we'll just keep going around and then we'll all kind of just start chatting, start round basically like a round table, whatever we want to talk about, we can talk about. But all right, let's go ahead and Kim, if you're available, it'd be great. If not, no worries. Just introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, so my name is Kim. I'm also a licensed real estate agent. I'm actually pretty brand new in the market. I'm like, I started in August, and really the reason why I started is because I want to get into property investment myself. So I'm here to just kind of learn and see where I can go.
Love it. It's amazing. Excuse me. Um, sorry, I was just drinking water and it went down the wrong pipe there. Well, that's amazing.
Sorry.
This is definitely the network or the area that you want to be in. Because I'm not an agent, by the way, but if I were an agent and I knew how an investor thought, you would have definitely have a one up on a lot of people. So and you can obviously ask as many questions as you want, and yeah, and if I don't know, I'm sure others here will know. So but again, thank you for making it, Kim. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. And then let's see here. Trent.
Hi, my name is Trent. Let me turn on my video too. Sorry, like I have kids, so I would just turn the video off and later on. A short introduction of myself, like I'm not like in real estate, but I do have like some rental property, and I want to I had some house like a bought and sold previously, and like they're the like a lot of tax benefit of like owning properties since I have like a W-2 job, and I'm looking for like opportunities to get into more
Mm-hmm.
properties there, but I all the previous properties I had was like a new, brand new, or like a in a really good condition. Like there's no renovation needed. We just move in,
Mm-hmm.
or sell, or we bought it and rent it out. But as you already know, like the market condition changed. Like it's hard to find such property very easily.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a 1% rule thing where like you all, as far as I know, like it's almost impossible to find such property at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no cash flow and all that. So I'm like wondering how are other people, finding deals, or in this situation, is like a flipping absolutely necessary at this point, or there are other strategies like out there. But yeah, that's it.
Love it. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Trent. And I agree. I agree with you with the 1% rule. I go by that as well. And very difficult. But we'll get into that a little later. I agree. Nathan, you're up.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I started studying real estate investing back in 2011 at the tail end of the last real estate crisis. I was out in San Diego trying to get short sales done. I was part of a investment club. Probably knocked on 1,000 doors and could not get a deal done. I got so close. I had people who, one lady lost my card. She would have done it. Ended up being a $40,000 deal.
Oh.
But yeah, that one fell through the cracks. Since then, I've been a realtor, and most recently, I've had a remodeling business for the last 4 years. We do everything. I'm out on the Space Coast. I know Victor. Yeah, we do everything from full remodels, bathrooms, kitchens. But yeah, I see an opportunity now, I think, to get back into investing. I think that there's a big opportunity for investors right now with probably assuming mortgages. I'm looking at sub two. I feel like sub two is a big opportunity for investors right now to take advantage of that low interest rate debt that's already out there. So just getting to it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Yes, I do also have questions. The same questions you have as well. But yeah, we'll dig into all those very soon. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, Nathan.
Yeah, of course.
Earl, what's going on, man? I remember you.
Hey, how's it going, Aaron? Good to see you again.
How you doing?
Good evening, everyone.
How's everything?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Same challenges as everyone else is kind of finding right now as far as looking for deals. But brief introduction of myself for everyone. I have a portfolio of residential properties, rental properties that I self-manage, and I'm looking to add to that portfolio, preferably smaller multifamily properties, so 2 to 4 units. From a personal end, but I'm also working with apartment investors. So also looking for individuals who are looking to invest in apartment buildings. We're looking to acquire a first one within the next 12 months. And the partners I'm working with, they have a track record as well as far as getting in and exiting apartment buildings successfully. So definitely you'll have confidence there. So but also, love to be a resource to anyone as well. If you're new to the industry, I've been in the industry in several different capacities. I am a licensed real estate agent, not practicing full time at this time, but primarily have used it to find deals myself, and have done millions of dollars of transactions over the years. Also have worked in mortgage operations as an underwriter, and understand the underwriting process and things of that nature and different loan products. So happy to be a resource as well. But I'm just here to network with everyone. And like I said, if there's anyone who are looking to invest in apartment buildings, I'd love to talk more as well.
Love it. I love it, man. Thank you again, Earl. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, John, you're up.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I have been in investment real estate in Florida since during the pandemic. I've done it for everybody else. I've never had any for my own, but I've helped people with wholesaling, with flipping, with subject to, with everything. Now I am the business development manager here at a property management company. So what I what I can help people with is basically everything under the sun, between knowing how to do a flip sheet, knowing how to find subject to properties, knowing how to kind of approach people, and then how to then on the back end, how to help you make sure that tenants are, ready to go, ready to, if you're going to go that route, because it seems like that's kind of with some of the properties where you got to go is with the tenants and things, but finding tenants, screening those tenants, and then helping be able to, know what a proper how if you can property manage by yourself, how to screen them, or if it's better route to go with someone like me who can, you can sit back and collect a paycheck every month.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I love it. I love it, John. And I have more questions for you, John. We'll get into it later though. All right. Because yeah, I wanted to I want to see what your thoughts are now. But yeah, we'll go forward. But thank you, John. Let's see here. Next up is that Terry?
Terry, yep, Terry's fine.
Okay, with the Seminoles logo.
Yes.
Hmm. All right.
Yep.
Well, how do I remove? Okay. I'm
Yeah, you
kidding.
just hit click kick out of group. And
Nice. Well, welcome, welcome to the to this I guess unorthodox meetup, but pleasure to have you. You want to introduce yourself?
yep, I'm a newbie investor, I would say. I've done a few transactions, um about three. I did a live and flip, currently a landlord. Um my most interesting transaction, I think, is I bought a property from OfferPad and I sold it to Zillow, like right before they quit buying houses. Um,
So How
yeah.
how does that even work? Sorry, I'm asking questions before we can go into that, but why not? How did you get that done?
Um, well, they were they were buying houses and they were it was said that they were overpaying for it. So I wanted to see if that was true. So I actually got them all to come out. Um, Zillow's was the only one that actually sent a person, like a person physically to my place. So they walked around, recorded the condition of the property and things like that. Um, I think OfferPad, did I try to spell back to OfferPad? No, I didn't. Um, Open Door, they had me walk through with a video with my phone and just looked at the condition that way. And they sent me, they sent me an offer, and Zillow was the highest one. So I took it and I found another place to live, and I purchased that property.
That's awesome. And now, I mean, it must have been sweet because Zillow, they definitely have cash, right? So, was that just like a check to you, or how'd they pay, right? It's a straight check. Here you go.
Yep, it was a cash transaction. And it was originally set to close in October of last year, but then I was following the news and stuff like that, and things started like feeling like it was getting rocky, and I wanted to make sure that the deal went through. So I told them that I would be able to close sooner in August. Um, so we went ahead and did that. But yeah, it's just a regular transaction through a title company, and they just wired the money, paid off the mortgage, and I received the proceeds. And
Nice.
from that, I was able to use that as the down payment on the next property, and also do some renovations. on that property as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Love that. Love to hear that. It's awesome, man. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And again, we'll continue talking. All right, next up, Kendrick.
Yeah. Hello, you guys hear me?
Yeah. How you
Hey,
doing?
hey, yeah, my name's Kendrick. I'm not uh registered agent or anything. Actually, I'm a carpenter. I've been doing carpentry for a little while. Looking into contracting, um, and yeah, networking. Try just out here to learn and network and
Love it,
see
man. Love it.
what's out there.
That's the way to do it, man. The way to do it. Carpentry is obviously important. So, we'll what's your specialty in carpentry?
As of right now, I'm a finished carpenter.
Okay.
But I've done everything from like pre-construction to finish. I've done almost like every discipline in carpentry besides roofing. Like, I've never been on a roof, but as far as like from the guts to like your ply walls and cabinetries and all that, I've been in the industry for about 6 years. So.
Nice. Love it, man. Love it. And now you how long have you been in business for?
I haven't started. No, no, I'm looking into contracting.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm looking into contracting. I'm trying to see if I should go, maybe put a team together or like or start out just installing on my own or something like that. Or yeah, trying to
no.
figure out the way, see what's out there.
Nice. Nice. I love it, man. I love it. Well, we'll talk more about that soon, but thank you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
All right, next up we got Rene. My bad. Reen?
Renee, sorry, I just walked in. I actually stepped away to take care of my
Renee.
daughter real quick. I'm super not familiar. Greg actually sent me the Zoom link. Are we just doing like formal introductions? Is what we do?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yes. You came in a little bit after. But basically just a formal introduction of what you do and if in real estate, not in real estate. And yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, I am a licensed realtor. I've been in the wholesale space for a little over 6 years now. I've probably successfully wholesaled north of 430 homes personally. I run a small team now in Orlando called Equity Pros, the company. I have about 11 to 10 agents underneath me, and we probably do 22 deals a month. So I'm looking to connect with like-minded individuals, people that are that might be struggling selling their first wholesale deal or might be looking to invest in a property, themselves.
Love that, man. Love that. Yeah, that's yeah, you got some good experience, man. Got some good experience. So I'm sure you'll add some really good insight on this conversation that we're gonna have coming up. So Renee, I appreciate that, man. And so we're gonna just dig into it. So we basically just went around the room, right around the table and introduce ourselves. But what I wanted to talk about, and this was already brought up, is the market now and strategies that we can use for this up and coming market. I've heard a couple of keywords already, and I've been also looking for sub two deals, creative financing, right? I myself, I'm a buy and hold guy, not a fix and flip, just a buy and hold residential multifamily. So 2 to 4 doors is what I like. And right now for me, I feel like I'm in like the no fly zone, right? I feel like anything that's in my liking, is either way, way, way overpriced or just not my cup of tea. You know, I do have a certain criteria, which are they have to be all 2 1s, right? Condition, you know, I don't really give too, yeah. I would say condition would be probably light rehab. So obviously anything that you're talking about that is going to be a little expensive. So for me, I haven't really found anything. I've been looking, but not every day. So, you know, it is my fault, right? But I wanted to know and kind of get your insights on what is working, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and yeah, like how would you capture a deal, right? Whether if it's single family, residential, multifamily, however that is. Yeah, let's talk about that. Whoever wants to go. All right, Kim.
Yeah, I can go first. So I kind of have questions, and I think it's probably going to be mainly questions. So, like I said, I'm a real estate agent, and I started working. Like I do have a deal that's going on right now for a foreclosed home. So I did hear a few people in here talking about investments in buying and holding. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's in DeLand. It would be good for a hold, but not to flip because it's almost in good condition, and that the price point we are selling it for is like not at wholesale price. My question is, I don't even know how to kind of point it out because that's kind of why I'm here. Like I want to get into wholesaling, right? I want to get into flipping homes and doing all of that. Like where do I start? I know how to find deals. I do that almost every day. Like I'm constantly looking and finding good deals, but like what's next? Like what do I do after there is a deal that I find? Like who do I connect with? Like that's the way I'm kind of stuck. So I want to maybe have help or maybe come, speak with people that are like-minded like you guys who might be investors or might help kind of lead the way or kind of help me understand the process.
Sure. I'm gonna just I'm gonna go ahead and then we can, everyone could fill in because I'm sure I'm either incorrect or correct, but I feel like there's more to it. I feel like you just gotta do it. Like don't like action, right? Like you gotta take action. First. Second is deals, right? You seem like you're in like a really good position to find deals, right? I believe that deals are right now the hard part to find. Funding, hard money, private money, it's all around. All around. You can find that, right? So the money part, you shouldn't feel that it's not there because it's there, right? I would just say what you find, run the numbers, make sure it's a good deal. If it's a good deal, if it's in your criteria box and fits all your boxes, then buy it and go for it, right? That's what I would have to say. I would also say you're in the right room now, and if you continue coming to this meetup and other meetups around the areas, you'll be able to find more deals. You'd be able to find more money partners. You'll be able to find everything else that you would need. So yeah, that's basically what I would start. Anyone else?
Now you said something. You said just start. Okay, so I understand that, but where do I start? Okay, so let's say I have a deal. There's a deal. I have a home. It looks good. The numbers are good. What's next? I think that's where I'm stuck. I'm just like, because I'm new, right? So I'm like, okay, what now?
Well, you're gonna have to like, oh yeah, go ahead, John.
Go on Facebook. Add every single cash buyer page you can find on Facebook and build your buyer list. I have a buyer list of about 200 people, and you gotta vet them and things. there's a bunch of bullshit on there that they're just gonna try to steal your deal. That's all they're doing. But there are like New Western always has a guy on there, and I talk with him, and they'll buy the deal or get the deal from you and transfer it to somebody else. Connect with people who know Amherst Residential, who know Progress Residential, who know the big firms who are going to pay for the houses. Find agents who know them and connect with them because they have them and they'll close quick, and they're a lot better than Joe down the street who tells you he's got $1 million and nothing
Okay.
else.
I bet Renee would probably be a good resource for you as well.
Yeah.
Were
Sounds like.
you specifically talking about the land foreclosure deal as maybe as a starting point? Because if that was me and I was in front of a seller that I knew was in pre-foreclosure, I would want to know their situation. First of all, what's their motivation? Do they just need cash for keys? How many months are they delinquent? And then from there, you could structure, a takeover payment subject to situation. So in the event that, let's say they haven't paid their mortgage in 6 months and their mortgage payment, and if you're looking for buy and hold, the key point, really anyone that's bought a home, prior to the last 6 months has a relatively favorable interest rate, something much more attractive than what the market is right now. So if you've got someone to purchase a home, let's say 2018, they have a low threes, low four interest rate, sorry, and let's say their mortgage is $1,400, it might be something, if it's turnkey, that you might be able to put a tenant in there for $2,200. Now you're cash flowing, and the seller just needs 12 grand. So now you've put together this deal where you're cash flowing several $100s a month off of a minimum investment, and you might not have the world's most equity, but you've landed yourself in a really stellar position. So if that would be my start, if that's the type of quality lead that you have there. And that might not work for wholesale, because if you were to put that lead in front of me, like you said, I would, if in order to make sense on a cash purchase, I would have to heavily lowball you,
Exactly.
just to make it work.
Yeah, this property that I have is not going to be for somebody who wants to flip and put it back on the market right away because of how the owner wants to price it. It's already on the market, but we are not looking for that deal because I've found other deals that were the house is almost in heavy renovation conditions. You would need to do a lot of a gut job. But I just didn't know what to do with it. I was like, okay, what do I do with this now? So that's, I guess being here is going to help me understand the next step. Once I found the deal, what do I do next?
Right. And I guess just for that specific scenario, if you already have it on the market, it is truly already turnkey and it's priced accordingly, the market's just going to sell that deal. But now let's find out that, that she has an auction or a judgment date that's set for the next 45 days. She really doesn't have too many options if she doesn't have an offer on the table. That's where you get to put on your cape and play hero and say, all right, you either get foreclosed on, the property goes auction where you have now a pre-foreclosure on your credit report, or I can give you 12 grand, you can move out, I'll take over the payments, and now you've created your first subject to deal. So that's I don't know her situation, I don't know how far delinquent she is, but if she's in pre-foreclosure, it sounds like hasn't paid her mortgage for quite some time.
Yeah, it's probably getting to where there's going to be a date within the next couple of, I would say maybe by end of December, there should be a date on it for auction.
So it sounds like you got a very warm lead in the event that you don't sell it the traditional manner. So I just, keep reaching out to people in these rooms. And, from the example, if it comes December, you find out that date and you can find a reasonable amount, that might be a deal I might be considered interested in taking myself, okay. So we can have that conversation. It looks like Eric as well.
Well, hey, this could be a first deal between all of us, right? We can all go in, joint venture. But Kim, did that answer your question? Because that was an amazing answer, by the way. And it's the creativeness, right? Like you got to be creative in this market. All right, John, go ahead, man.
Do you know how to, you said, is it in need of a flip? Like, is it gonna need a ton of work done to it to get it into a condition where you can rent it out?
Honestly, the answer would be no. I would say the only thing that you would need to do is the floors, maybe the cabinets, but the cabinets are like hardwood, so you would can paint them, but it would be cabinets and floors, pretty much. That's it.
Okay, so it'd be a cosmetic flip probably.
Yeah, it's a
You're probably
cosmetic
in
flip.
it. Well, you're probably in it 10, what, 10, 12, 15,000 maybe, depending on what kind of floors it has.
I would. That's what I estimated, maximum 15. If you want to kind of go, on the high end of.
Yeah, because unless you can, I don't know what other people's buyers are looking, but my buyers are still wanting, the guys that work are still wanting 20% on every flip. I don't know, Renee, what are you seeing? I'm seeing at least 20%.
Everybody's numbers are a little different. I don't know what you consider 20%, if that's still a gross figure, if that's an absolute net after you consider closing costs, realtor commissions, buying expenses, holding costs, etc. But I can successfully probably wholesale a deal in Central Florida for, and obviously this is kind of case by case, but if it's a block home, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,100 square feet, cookie cutter, or north of 1,100 square feet, I can get away with about a 14 to 15% return, and I could probably sell it in 2 to 3 days if it's vacant. But if anything more than that, heavily distressed, wood frame, older, I got to be closer to that 20% figure that you're talking about there. So it's all case by case. We just sold a fire damage. It wasn't super bad, in Windermere for $399,900, and it was a 10% net return, and we sold it in about 14 hours. So if it's the right area, the right price point, I've got a large network of investors, been doing this a long time, can really move your deals.
Yeah, I just sent you. I don't know who asked for the link, but I just sent the link for the listing in here.
Excellent, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at it once I'm finished eating here.
Cool. Yeah.
Renee, if you could drop your info below, I think everyone would appreciate that as well.
Yes, please.
Cool.
I'll be honest, I'm super ignorant when it comes to these Zoom things. I'm old school. How do I do that?
I think it says
On
chat
the
right
chat,
there.
I
If you
think.
go under the bottom.
Yeah, it would be if you're
chat.
if you're on the desktop, it'd be on the right. I think if you're on the phone, I think it would be on the bottom of your phone. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just dropped my email right now. Excellent.
Renee, do you invest in all of Central Florida, or do your buyers invest in all of Central Florida, or mostly Orlando?
The entire state. I've done deals as north as Tallahassee and as south as Venice, Florida. Right now, my company has 5 offices. We have an office in Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, recently Fort Lauderdale, Georgia. So we're now expanding into Georgia. We just picked up a deal in North Carolina today. So if the numbers make sense, I'll underwrite it. I'd be happy to, partner with anybody. I don't like to use the word JV really, because we really don't JV. We don't like split profits 50-50. But you let me know what you want to make on a deal. If I could add a couple bucks to it, I'd gladly put it under contract, market it for 3 or 4 days. If I can't sell it in 3 or 4 days, it's just overpriced. It's just the market talking at that point.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Love it, love it, love it. Great conversation so far. So so while we're on the same topic, creative financing subject to, who has done one recently, and how exactly did you work it out? I know Renee was talking about, it depends on obviously the the homeowner and their situation, but like structure wise, right? I haven't done one yet, and I've been actually picking up on a couple of them here in the South Florida area. So how did you structure that, and what does that look like in terms, if anyone has done that before?
So I recently did one right around the corner from my house. And the situation was that the seller had a property on the MLS. They had it on for a few months, and all the offers were well below what the payoff was. So it'd be a short sale. And the seller was really starting to get creative and offer different kind of strategies and ways. And, they kind of almost brought the whole subject to without really knowing what a subject to was. And we had to kind of make it make sense to them. They needed 10 grand. They needed 5 grand to like pay for movers and to her first month, last month deposit, so they can kind of restructure, and another 5 grand, for kind of living expenses to get them back on track. So we gave on the contract, it was kind of your standard FAR bar. And in the additional terms, we went, the wording was, property to be purchased subject to the existing mortgage, and they weren't entirely sure of the payoff. So we set a number that we were comfortable with, not to exceed $216,000. Big information that we needed up front. We needed to know the life of the loan. We needed to know the PITI payments to see if we would cash flow. And so we can kind of definitely determine what was an appropriate strategy for us. And from there, it was quite simple. We went ahead and just closed in about 21 days. There was an agent involved. She wasn't greedy. She just wanted the seller to move on with their life. So we just paid them 6 grand, and so it wasn't actually as complicated and as scary as we had thought.
Sure. Awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. There's I don't know about in the areas in like Central Florida, but in South Florida there's a lot of condos, right? A lot of condos on the beach, and I personally don't like those at all. Obviously, for me personally, it's HOAs and assessments, etc. And I'm sure some of you could agree, but I have been realizing and seeing that either the agents or the sellers are understanding that it's getting harder to sell those, especially here, because there's a lot of like construction restraints now due to that building falling in Miami like a couple of years ago, and a lot of assessments are getting hit now with these crazy well, not these associations are getting hit with these assessments for like reconstruction for concrete, etc. But like now I'm seeing that that there's opportunity to pick those up, but yeah, I wouldn't even really know how to do that in like that type of scenario with the HOA and stuff. I don't even know if that's possible. Does anyone have any insight or thoughts about that?
I think it's as long as they don't have anything specifically excluding it in the bylaws, I don't think they could stop you. Some of them say that the buyer has to meet approval, but it's usually not clear terms of
Gotcha.
what that actually means, and at what stage of the purchase do you have to meet approval and stuff like that. So I don't know how they stop you. Renee, stop me if I'm wrong, but so you transfer the title, you get the deed, right, in your name?
Sorry, I was chewing. Yes. So the deed goes in your name, and there's an exception on the title policy stating that you're taking subject to the existing mortgage. So that is why it's called subject to. You're not getting free and clear title because there is still an exception that you are taking to title, which is the existing mortgage. So the deed would be in your name, and the same process as that you would have to go through and jump the hoops. Now, I haven't done it in a condominium, so I haven't, I can't say from personal experience, but I don't. You could run into an issue with the HOA buyer approval. You could run into an issue maybe where the HOA, because usually when there's a special assessment, sometimes the sellers are required to satisfy that prior to selling. So you might have to satisfy that special assessment upfront at closing, which then would obviously, maybe affect your deal. So that's something to consider. And I'm not sure how soon or how late you would actually find that out. It would probably be during the as soon as you get the title search back and the title commitment, your whoever your title company is, and my company does also own a title company. So if you do need to close your deals, and you want to work with a title company, Neighbors Titles, who we are partners with, and in the event that you want someone that can handle simultaneous close assignments, all these different deals that some title companies are not too privy to, that's kind of the boutique service that we know how to handle. So I'll drop Shannon's contact info here in this chat, and then that'll be another resource for you guys.
A quick question for you, Renee. I know you're part of a firm that takes care of this, but did it require a real estate lawyer to get the subject to done, or is that something that the title company, like creating the promissory note and whatnot, is that something that they had the contracts for and the paperwork to do?
Yeah, I guess it would probably be beneficial to actually get an attorney's wording on it. Right. My broker was the one who actually took over this. We just structured a deal for him, and so he wasn't really too worried about the details. I'll be honest, it was his first subject too. We were kind of all learning together, fumbling through this transaction. And right. So he doesn't plan to hold it for more than 90 days. So one thing that I was recently informed after the purchase is that there are ways to get insurance, like a secondary insurance on it. And so he's currently using the insurance that the previous seller has, with their mortgage. So my right. question to him was, what if in the event like a fire happens, he can't get a claim, because it's not in his name, it would go to the seller. Or, what if a hurricane or blah, blah, blah. So he was like, these are good points. And so I would definitely recommend, getting an attorney involved. But for this transaction, we didn't need one. Our title company was able to handle it. So.
Right. Okay, thank you. I heard that the homeowner can get, like, if he were to be a landlord, he can get a landlord policy, and that would kind of provide you a better coverage. I don't know what your opinion is on that.
That would make sense.
Landlord policies always are going to be cheaper than your typical
right.
Homeowner policies. The personal property is not going to be there as it typically would on a regular homeowner policy. The ALE and all that other kind of coverage, not to get too detailed, but yeah, your landlord policies are usually going to be a little bit more cut and dry and cheaper. So for those of you who house hack, that's something definitely to kind of keep in mind when you transition out of that property to shop around for new quotes. That's one of the early mistakes I made, thinking that I was getting a cheaper policy with a homeowner policy after I left the property, and turns out all that time I could have had lower premiums. So
good to know.
Yeah.
That's very good to know. Nice. So I actually I wanted to actually talk about like rental rates and how they affect either our areas, how they don't affect our areas, and let's say like someone who bought a year ago. Okay, and I'll like kind of bring this up. I purchased this property. I'm in this duplex 2 years ago, right? I purchased it and bought it, live in it, homestead, rent the other side out, house hack. And the following year, because of the seller had their homestead for years, right? The taxes were low, right? So here I am as kind of like a newbie in a way. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, this is great. The mortgage with taxes and insurance, everything is equals up. It's fantastic, making money. Then I get slapped in the face with the higher, obviously, tax bill because it got reappraised, the property, and everything kind of went up. And I feel like this is also kind of like an opportunity for investors to kind of also look at, right? Again, I don't know if there's like specific lists of where it says like when someone bought and when the last seller bought or last buyer bought. But I can tell you that, if you bought like $1 million home or $1 million multifamily unit, and the next year the taxes readjust, and if you don't run your numbers correctly, you can be completely, like creamed and messed up. So I wanted to also kind of get, if anyone had the same experience that I kind of went through. And yeah, that I kind of wanted to put that in the field here and see if anyone went through that, and see if there's any possible opportunities within the next couple of years because of that.
Yeah, I will say I've definitely lived that as well. And like you said, it's just part of your underwriting now. If you're gonna house hack. So kind of what you do is you're gonna take your new sales price, figure out what the millage rate for that particular county is, and just kind of estimate what the new tax is gonna be. And you can even add a little bit of a buffer in there as well, to make sure that that's going to work when it adjusts. And if you still have the margins that you were looking for, then you should be all good. So but yeah, it's definitely important to, again, for anyone who's house hacking, you get your homestead exemptions. You don't have to be a professional in this, but you do have to be aware that your taxes can only go up 3% when it's your homestead property year over year. So if someone had owned that property and lived in it for 10 years, then their taxes is going to be way lower than someone who just bought that property in that neighborhood. So when you buy that property, maybe the year you bought it, because the properties are assessed in January in Florida, the year you bought it is going to be cheap, but the next year it's going to be adjusted for whatever you purchased it for. And for investment properties, just a nice little note for you to know, the max it's not 3%. It can increase up to 10% year over year. And for the schools taxes, there is no max in Florida. So your school taxes can adjust at any moment. So I always want to make sure you account for that in your numbers when you're kind of analyzing your buy and holds. And then now we have this insurance problem. So now I just kind of project, anywhere between 10 and 20% increase in insurance year over year. I kind of just project that now because the last few years, my insurance policies on all my properties has been a minimum of 30% increase. Some of them have been 50% increases, some of them doubled. So, before you could just count on a 5% max increase year over year, but these last few years have been ridiculous. So that eats into your margins as well. So definitely want to keep that in mind.
Wow. And you said you like project what percentage? Like,
so about 10, like I add like a 10 to 20% increase on my last premium. So this is important when you're renewing your lease, right? So, in the beginning, I would try to be a little bit more, cognizant of my tenants. If they're going to renew, my existing tenants, if they're going to renew, I may not increase the rent all the way up to the market. I might, give them a $50 increase or $100 increase or whatever the case may be. But now I'm realizing, as of the last couple of years, especially not knowing how these insurance premiums are going to come in and these taxes are going to come in, you got to go close to market. One, you're going to fall too far behind market if you don't adjust accordingly year over year. And two, you want to make sure that the tenants understand that if they leave, it's going to cost them more, and they're still going to be paying market rent anyway. So, don't be fearful of increasing the rent to what market is. to make sure you're maximizing your margins.
Absolutely.
Well, and here's the thing. I wanted to just say this real quick, Earl, is we're seeing a problem with that because like our tenants can pay what's on the market right now. But when you increase it, sometimes they can't. So you have to be very careful. It's a balancing act between, okay, do we keep the tenant we have in and maybe make less money per month, or do we tell them it's going to go up to, like we had one property go from 16 to I think 21, and they just clearly they don't have the income for it because it hadn't gone up since 2014. So I know it went from like 12 to like 22. I think it was like 12 to 22. It's a huge jump because they hadn't raised it. So we had to just remove the tenant. But it's kind of like I said, it's a balancing act with all that because you don't want to be evicting people because that's not that's not cheap.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And that's why I say you work with your tenants. I guess the biggest takeaway was more so like lead with that, because I would anticipate all of like, oh, this might be too much of an adjustment, or this they might not be able to afford this and whatnot. And then so I undercut myself from the beginning before even kind of presented it. And then it turns out the tenant's like, oh yeah, great, it's perfect. It says like, okay, well, I probably should have just led with the higher amount, right? And at that point, negotiate back down if they feel like it's going to be a big burden or whatnot, or if it's too far apart from the market, then maybe you do risk, that 1 month's rent to get a tenant in there that's going to be able to afford the rents, not just this year, but moving forward too.
Yeah, I also feel like it's the area, right? Like what area does it call for as a rental rate? Because I've been super I guess you could say I bought the right timing in this specific area to where I renovated one side completely, gut job, did everything from floors all the way up, and I mean it's being rented for $2,650. I can get around 3,000. It's only a 2-1, like but it's in the heart of Fort Lauderdale, right? So that's location, but yeah, I don't know. So I just want to throw it out there. I appreciate Earl, throwing in some knowledge right there. Anyone else have any other questions or any other strategies or any things that they've done recently, if it's real estate, not real estate, or any wins? I want to hear some wins. Any wins?
So quick question on the topic. I forgot to ask earlier when you speaking on the topic, subject to, right? I'm wondering how does the if I'm understanding, the subject to is like the process buying from the current, like kind of paying on the current loan while kind of giving up the equity on the property.
Yeah, I want to know that too.
Renee,
what is the subject to?
That's definitely more of a Renee question. Is he available?
I'm sorry, could you repeat it?
Explain what is the subject to.
So subject to is and this is why you'll see these bandit signs that say take over payments. That's kind of essentially what you're doing, is you're taking over the payments of the existing mortgage that the homeowner has. And so one risk factor that there is, now every loan is different, but almost a very high percentage of loans have a, what is the phrase called?
Due-on clause.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, so that's one thing. Also you want to make sure that you're not just overpaying, because in the event that there is a due-on clause, and the mortgage company calls and they call the note and they want it to be satisfied in full, and the next 30 days that you're not upside down where you didn't just. I see all the time where people say that they will overpay for a property on TikTok at least, and they'll throw in a tenant in there, and this investment strategy where they're getting a house for free. Actually, the seller paid me $5,000, and now I just overpaid for by 20 grand more than any other person. It's not a viable, strong strategy, because in the event that a due-on clause sale happens, you're kind of SOL, so to speak. So that's another risk factor too. to consider the subject to. But in a sense, what a subject to is just take over payments, and you just inherit that loan. That loan never goes in your name. You never have to do a credit report. There is no loan application process. You have to really build a strong amount of trust with your seller, because a seller really does kind of put their livelihood in your hands. So they're not just every single deal you're able to do that. Either you need a really motivated seller, someone that really doesn't care, or someone that really doesn't know and is just kind of desperate, so to speak. So as much as I would love to turn every deal subject to, it's not going to be the reality. It's probably like a 3% conversion out of 100 leads.
Yeah.
What is the benefit of a seller doing a subject to?
So that, Renee, I'll actually go into that real quick, because Kim, you like I literally just kind of had that conversation with a friend of mine, and then a potential buyer, and I was actually within the conversation, and he asked the same question, right? So my friend completely renovated the place, no, doesn't need anything. He has a shit ton of equity in the property, right? And this buyer was trying to do a sub-2 deal, and my friend asked him, what's the benefit of me selling the house to you if you're not giving me any down payment, if you're not giving me anything of, because there's equity in the home, right? So it all depends on what they are going through. And kind of like what Renee, I believe, touched on was, the seller that he did, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't Renee, but Kim, like if it's a foreclosure, they're getting something in return for not being foreclosed on, or the costs of moving, or etc. But Renee, is that kind of like a good breakdown? Or I know you have more experience, but kind of want to throw it out there.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm sure there are more ways you can spin the positive feedback. You could probably tell a seller that it's going to look very nicely if they were at one point behind on payments. Now, for their credit report going forward, that they're all caught up, they're making healthy payments, they look like a good borrower again, and that might help restore their credit and may allow them to buy a car and kind of start over, as just kind of selling the property wouldn't allow you to buy another one if you're delinquent. So I mean, I'm sure there's a million little videos you could watch to find out the benefits, but I think, like Eric said, you kind of touch base on really the key points.
Also, I'm not a CPA, not a tax advisor, but you save, I believe you can save money on sales tax, right? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of, if you don't actually physically sell the house, I think you can. I'm not sure, but John, go ahead. Sorry.
I've seen it where somebody buys just a shithole and puts $100,000 into it, and it's going to be a huge profit. And what they'll do is they'll subject to the property, and hold a note. That way, their income doesn't get up into that next tax bracket.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody in a Pace Morby group was on a video talking about this, that it's a great way to not get into that next tax bracket, whereas you would have to pay, all these other taxes. I don't account either. I just saw it in Pace Morby group, and Pace Morby is the king of buying homes without a bank involved.
For sure. I would yeah, there's some also definitely some tax benefits, but again, I'm not too familiar. I really legit like heard this from someone who has done a ton of sub-2 deals like last week, so that's why it's kind of fresh in my head. But yeah, so that's kind of the rundown of that. Does that kind of explain your question or answer your question, Kendrick?
Yeah, I guess the following question is, I'm assuming an advantage to this kind of strategy would be to either get it rented, or maybe apply this for a fix and flip, or how does, like, as far as the equity, do you build any equity with this, or how does that work?
Not sure.
it depends on the deal and depends on what the whole thing is. If they're if they're in a hole and it's a foreclosure, you possibly could. But right now the problem is because of people are like and I watched this in a video. A lot of people have equity in their house, so much equity that it's not worth you putting down $150,000 in cash to buy a house because it has a 3.5% mortgage on it. So subject to is more so like what Kim was talking about, where it's relatively close to what the adjusted resale value is of the property, and there's not a ton of equity to deal with. Or if you're somebody who's maybe like a 1099 and you can't get a traditional loan, it's a way that you can purchase a house without putting a ton of money down.
Yep. That's a really good reason, John. Because yeah, I this will be year 2 of having my own business. So after the second year, then I'll be able to go back to the conventional route. But yeah, definitely some good conversation so far. I think we touched on a lot of subjects. But I asked previously any wins either this week, this month, potential wins that you want to do this month. Trent, I'm gonna pick on you. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool, man. So I know that you said that you wanted to get in to real estate investing, right? You have a W-2 job or that you want another property. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. So I'm evaluating currently I'm just like looking. I don't have like a timeline. I'm more in the sideline right now, but like I want to learn enough so that like when the timing is right, I can get started or something like that.
Sure.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, that's perfect. Do you know what kind of like buy and hold, fix and flip, wholesaling, like what kind of strategy are you looking to get into? What are your goals to achieve?
Yeah. I don't have like I'm a to be straight, I'm a newbie here. So all the previous investment I had, it was like it was like it was like lucky, or it's just like the market was right. Like I didn't need to like I really spent a lot of time to find the right deal. It just due to the fact that like the real estate market overall appreciate, I can benefit from it. So I didn't, but now I cannot find that sort of deal anymore. And the market is not appreciating like a crazy at this point. But yeah, like I don't have any wins or anything. I did hear a story from my friend where like they basically they went to they go through some auction. They bought a house in during auction, and they sort of renovated and decide to either move in or do a what do you call it, or sell it or something like that. It seems like it worked out for them at this point. But they're also new. Like I've never done I myself never done like a rehab or renovate ever. He is in the same boat, but like he just went forward with this like a decision. I'm kind of like amazed at that. No experience, but he went to it. It seems like it worked out for him. The property, so due to the fact that the interest rates are very high, he actually paid full price with his own money. The house is not like expensive. It's like a 20 30, sorry, it's like 200K or 300K or something like around that range. So they bought it full like a cash and renovated it there. I guess it's a win for them, but like for me, it's I'm not like taking any actions at this point. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so no, that's all good. It all like what it really comes down to, Trent, and this is kind of with what I like is I like cash flow, or I like income, right? Producing properties. Now I know we talked about 1%, right?
Yeah.
And have you ever tried to run a property that's that's 70, that's basically like less than that, like
I'd say definitely. The current property I'm owning is actually doesn't it doesn't cash flow
mhm.
as much. Like it's funny, like the first property is not the first, like the one of the property that I have is like we used to live in it, but we moved out, and that house we didn't actually intended to I didn't intended to buy it as a investment property,
Mhm.
but we ended up like renting it out because like the interest rate like for that mortgage was so low, it's like a 2.5%.
Mhm.
So we don't want to sell it, and it's like it makes more sense to just keep the mortgage and rent it out. That actually is cash flowing, though it's far from like the 1% rule. Like
Yeah,
the so
yeah,
the
and so I just want to kind of fill that in. I'm like, so if you could find some, let's say if it cash flows, let's not even talk about the 1% rule. Let's just talk about it. What if it cash flows $500 a month? Are you okay with that?
yeah. Like
Yeah.
depending on how the the how much work or how much money I need to put in like a per month in terms like a you know like fixing the property and all that, but also depending on what the return or like ROI or like a IRR for the house. Um, like it depends. It depends like how for example like if the property is like a $1 million, like a 500 like a cash flow is not that attractive. But it really depends on like what the deals is or the numbers are.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And it seems like you're an appreciation guy, which I like as well. The appreciating assets are really where it's at. Obviously, because then you can pull equity out. Real quick, I don't know if anyone has done this on this conversation, but has anyone done a home equity line of credit, a HELOC? So
No, but I would like to do one. I'm trying to convince my fiance to do it.
yeah, no, I mean, there's multiple ways that you can, if you have equity in the property, you can pull out. I was against doing a complete refinance, cash out refinance on the property, just because of obviously the my rate. So I did the home equity line of credit, and yeah, it worked out. But you can use those funds towards obviously a down payment for another place and keep going and going and going, right? That's what the Burr method is, right? Burr strategy. You buy a house, fix it up, um, you know, re get a home equity line of credit, or a cash out refinance, and then you just keep going, right? You put a tenant in there and keep going, and that pays your mortgage, it depreciates, etc. Right? So that's
Eric,
yeah.
did you live in that property?
Yes.
I heard it's okay. I heard it's more difficult if it's an investment property. Like the property I used to live in that has tenants now, I want to get some equity out of that. Um, so I think getting a HELOC would be difficult. So I'm considering trying to get a private note on it.
Mm-hmm. And he says that a single family.
Yes, it's a single family 3-2.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. It's definitely harder to get an investment, home equity line of credit, and also say if you have a like a duplex, triplex, quadplex, and you live in it, it's also difficult to find someone who does that, even though you live in it. It's your primary residence. I had to call at least 20 different credit unions and all these different kinds of banks to see if they did, if that's required in investment property, if there's more than one door. And there's finally I got to Pentagon Federal, and they did it for me, so it was good.
Nice.
Yep. So yeah, man, so there's a lot of different ways. Again, the market's super, it's changing, so there's a lot of different, a lot of different new opportunities. Trent, sorry, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so like Erica, I guess like a question for you, like what is kind of the filter you use to find deals at this like environment with a high interest rate, high like house price at this point? Like, are you is there any are you looking for a specific kind of a year, like older houses, or what kind of like a price range you're looking at, or specific areas, like any any sort of things that works for you?
So I'm actually looking at a state. I'm looking in like the Baltimore area right now. It's just I know that a lot of people say like don't go to places where it's cheaper, but when you go and you actually physically look at the area and you like understand the market, you understand it's near DC, you understand like the economics of the area, then it makes sense. So I'm looking over there because I have connections there and I can find pretty good deals. And basically like you can find like a duplex, which those are like the row houses there. And you can find like a like a multi-family property for like, I don't know, 150, even like cheaper than that, 90 grand. So it all depends. It all depends, man. Of course I'm always looking in Florida. I like the 2 to 4 doors. So any area that has that's in a pretty good, I would say like a economic area where it makes sense, where if there's a Publix nearby, if there's a Whole Foods nearby, that they did their research, right? So they know that like there's going to be appreciation in that area. So you just got to piggyback off of other corporations and other companies that are going into that generalized area. But yeah, man, I mean, Trent, I've been like how to find deals. I mean, I've connected with a bunch of wholesalers. They send me stuff, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and just drive around. You can just drive around. There's also a shit ton of softwares that you can use. I've used Privy before. They like spider off like all of everything. So like they have MLS deals with majority of the areas in the United States, and then they also do off market leads, etc. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of softwares that you can get involved, or you can have Renee here or someone that's connected and has done a lot of deals, and because they know, like he knows, and a lot of other people that I know, they know how to look for really good deals, right? So but again, it's all about who you know, and you just got to find them and lock them down. So
yeah, thank you. Like I think like one idea or one trick to find like a good place to which like a could appreciate is like a find where there's a new like a retail store or something like that. I never thought about that way, but it really makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
yeah, definitely. John, did you have a question? No. So yeah, so let's see. It's 7:52. I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up around 8 o'clock. I just wanted to, before we get off here, I wanted to see if anyone want to have a conversation with anyone on here, just to kind of go over, Victor, he's a contractor. Greg, he's an advisor. Kim, as you know, she already provided us with an amazing deal or a deal on here. So she's a newbie agent, but you're in the right place. Trent, you're obviously a real estate investor. And again, I'm just going down the list, and you can correct me if I got it wrong. Nathan, you're also a contractor and also a realtor, but you practice and but more contractor. Earl, you're obviously a real estate investor. John, you're in business development. And Renee, as we all know, he is the professional creative financier here. If you want to take that title and use that, you can. I won't take any royalties for for that. Yeah. So, anyways, if anyone wants to have a conversation with anyone, feel free. And then what I want to do is so everyone's putting their name, their email address in the comments here. Did anyone sign in or register? I'll send that link. If you could do that, that'd be great. So then you can get updates from us. So
So I ran the numbers on Kim's property while we were sitting here in the MLS, and we're looking at about a $2,000 a month rental. So depending on what the PITI is on the property, it may work out as a subject to for the short term.
yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
All right, that sounds good. I just have to kind of educate myself more on that so that when I'm able to present that to the seller, I can present it with confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely needed. Let's give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna send. Actually, I'll just copy the emails here. Anyone else before we log off here? All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send this again.
I think it was Trent that was asking like a good place to find deals, to add on to some of the platforms, depending on your budget or depending on how little you want to be involved. Like Eric said, connecting with your local wholesaler is probably the easiest thing you can do. If you're willing to spend a little bit more money, Investor Lift is an amazing program. It's very, very big, and it's probably one of the strongest platforms out there that you can register on. From time to time, we'll post our deals on Investor Lift. It's quite expensive, and we really don't need to utilize it, so we don't utilize it as much. But I know a lot of new wholesalers that are really just trying to get their deals moved are advertising that. So Investor Lift, I would say, is a great tool if you're looking to get in front of these sellers directly. Something like PropStream, and adjusting your criteria, maybe code violations, whatever you're comfortable kind of inheriting. Everyone always looks for the absentee owner, high equity, someone that's owned the property for 10 years. So things like that, make a good qualified lead, for you to at least, try to skip trades, call the seller, and present a cash offer or whatever your strategy is that creative finance.
Yeah, thank you. So like what are the app that you were referring to?
Investor Lift is the one that it's a very strong tool. My company recently just spent $36,000 on it. We just got sold on a larger kind of plan, or like VIPs. So I don't know what the base model is. We just kind of just jumped in it gun ho. But as far as a good affordable, I feel like starter one is PropStream. I think you can start as $100 a month. I used it like 3 or 4 years ago, or around on COVID time, and helped me source like 1 or 2 leads. It wasn't the best, but honestly, I didn't really utilize it probably to its max capacity.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've also heard of prop stream. They're pretty good. But like you said, you gotta have to follow up and do the work to get those leads. But it's definitely, I would say, the most inexpensive route to go.
Can you use hard money loan on a auction?
I don't know.
It
No.
depends when it would need to close. I mean, if you had a more, I guess, more private lender than hard money lender, and some auction dates will allow you to place the bid and you can win the bid, and the closing may take place in 10 to 7 days. Not all of them require you to buy it within 24 hours. So depending on who your lender, sorry, that's my daughter. Depending on who the lender is and if they've verified the deal, it might be possible. But I'm going to say it's probably not a go. You'd want to be really direct to a private lender.
Okay.
And if you are not really sure the difference between a kind of a hard money lender and a private money lender, a hard money lender is almost like a wholesaler of money. They're going to broker, they're going to find an investor that's willing to, or a larger bank that's willing to finance them, and then they're just going to go ahead and broker that deal between you guys. And so that's why they typically take anywhere from 17 to 21 days. Anyone that says they can do it sooner, my rule of thumb is, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Mm-hmm. Anyone that says 0% interest rate or 100% financing, it's probably someone that's just trying to start out and just promising the world just to get clients, and they really don't know what they're doing quite yet.
Solid advice right there. I agree with that 100%. Very solid. Cool, man. So all right, well, looks like it's 8 o'clock. John, go ahead.
One thing, if you're a realtor and you have a commercial property or residential property, we're paying $555 a door to manage. So if you're a realtor, you know it. Otherwise, I'll take care of you in some other way. Let me know what your favorite beer is, or some other way that I can take care of you and thank you for your referrals.
Sounds good.
or if a realtor would rather beer than money, I can do that too. Is there an AA meeting? I'm a realtor.
Is there such thing as a $550 beer?
I don't know, because beer doesn't age like wine.
I was about to say that's good age wine for 550.
Yeah. It is. I'm a wino too, and 555 could definitely get you some good stuff.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciated all this. If anybody needs anything, send me an email. I can help with a lot of different things. So thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
Amazing. Again, thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate it. We'll if weather happens again, we'll continue this. But again, thank you so much for coming to the O-TownREI meetup, and we'll see you next month. All right, have a good one.
Thank you.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for hosting.
No problem.
Thanks for everything. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.